chewing the fat, kicking it back. Cap Q, Gregory, DT on the track. If you wanna laugh, if you wanna react, hit play, lean in.
All right, welcome, folks. This is a special session of Chewing the Fat podcast show. Per usual, you know, we talk about everything, big topics, little topics, heavy ones, and light ones. And we figured we'd have a special session because I have a special guest, Zach Foust, on, and
up,
we're
dudes?
happy to have him.
Thank you
And
for
then we have my
coming.
usual, Gregory,
Yo, how it is.
DT.
Welcome.
And I don't know, Zach, tell us a little bit about your show. So, I mean, the people watching you already know you, but the little bit maybe that watch me that don't watch you don't know what you're about.
I'm just I'm a real estate agent here in Delaware. I've been selling homes since 2017, January 2017. And, you know, about 4 years ago or so, I noticed that my boys couldn't buy homes anymore. I'm a military vet, graduated from high school, got right into it. And somewhere around 2023, like the formula kind of changed a little bit. It seemed like everything got slightly more expensive. Housing was kind of leading the charge. And so I started just digging into the world. And here in 2026 now, 4 years removed from that, I spend my time deep diving and fact checking politicians, leaders, and those put in charge of making sure that we have a normal life and trying to figure out why indeed that life seems a little less normal than it did 10 years ago. I think a lot of that starts in the economy, and that's where I look at.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some of your deep dives, and it's wild. Like, it's everything. It is connected. It's classic Fox Garden and Hen House everywhere. Like, right. I just watched your clip with Greenland. Just that one came up, and you have this guy that's the head of the Jewish Council that's in this, and it's connected to this, and then the guy telling Trump works for this guy too. Like, it's George Carlin. It's a big club, and we're not in it.
Right.
Then you're not invited.
Right.
Well, let's get that out of the way. Let's get the like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Try Dubby energy drink.
That button.
10% off if you use chewing. It's okay. It's
Dubby.
I like it. It's supposed to be more natural, and it's a little scoop. It's good. And because go ahead, Greg.
Thank you for your service. And
Yes, thank you.
self-serving. I'm in the Army National Guard. I'm still in. I'll hit 17 years November 2nd. So I'm gonna finish it out. It's tough. Let me guess. I'm just gonna guess though. You made it somewhere around 8 years.
8 years on the dot. Started Army National Guard, hoping I could do weekends. Ended up with a bunch of active contracts and sent off to Afghanistan. And I was like,
which brings me to my next point is, yeah. Which brings me to my next point is, when you're on the other side of it, you notice this. When you've been on the other side, I did active first, but when you'll notice those things. You're like, hey, hang on a second, like that. The most notorious one is the Hillary Clinton post that said, we have no people deployed right now. And there's all these Army people watching it. Where the fuck are we? So yeah, you can't swear on this one.
You can't swear on everyone.
You can cuss. So yeah, I just wanted to say, thank you for leading the way. And
it's funny. I had a similar story when I was deployed. If you don't mind going to a quick story.
No,
this
Go
is
ahead.
When I was deployed, we had a you know, Greg, you know, blue and green FOB is overseas. Civilians in that area working on base alongside us.
Yep.
And so I was
on one in South Korea.
Okay, so you completely understand. So we're in RC North Afghanistan at FOB Ghazni. I believe this FOB does not exist anymore. It was only a mile,
I don't think so.
Under a mile from where that Mark Wahlberg movie was shot, The Lone Survivor. Not where it was actually shot, but where it was based off of.
Where it was.
Yeah, I'm assuming they didn't shoot on site.
Yeah.
So I'm there, right? And we have this blue-green scenario where the Afghani police are also working on the fob. So check this out. I'll try to explain this cleanly. There was a leader of that blue section, captain of their police force, who gave the entire squad a day off. It was some Afghani holiday.
Right.
During that day off, decided to go back to the base, got into a Humvee that they had, got all of the 50 cal sniper rifles and night vision goggles they had been given and all the documents that they had access to, put it all in the Humvee, left, never came back. Ended up finding it was crashed about a mile and a half off in town and handed off to, at that time, people that were ISIS affiliated. They already knew that was in that town, blah, blah, blah. So we on this base, we're like in this, we're in this bowl, okay? There's a really small base. You could throw a football to either side of it from any place you stand. And there was a CIA top secret section blocked off by like cement and like 3 different locked doors I only got to go into once on the other side. So it was a pretty high, it was a base where a lot of missions flew out of, but I was just tech. So because I was one of these positions that was kind of just, you don't really need the tech guy that works at night, I got asked to do the perimeter checks. And I had been for the last month every single night at about 2 a.m. on this blackout fob. And a blackout fob simply means there's no light. No light whatsoever. You can use a little red light and goes out like 3 feet. You can hardly see anything. And so they get this report that this guy had stolen all this weaponry, and they think, hey, something might happen because now they have all these sniper rifles, night vision goggles, and oh, by the way, we are in a bowl surrounded by mountains in a super small base. And it was my job to walk by myself outside every night with this knowledge. And it was only 2 days later that we got a note saying from those very people, hey, we have your stuff. We're going to take somebody out to showcase that we have that stuff.
Ooh.
You know who didn't have to stop his night perimeters? This guy.
Yeah.
So every night I'm walking around like, okay, I mean, I guess this isn't the worst way to go. I'm just going to like turn off if something were to happen because it's just going to be a sniper bullet going through me.
Yeah.
And I remember a month and a half later, I'd since left that fob. I was back at Bagram, one of the bigger bases of the two. Kandahar and Bagram are the two biggest. And I remember this report getting sent to me by my mom's. And it was about, and she said, wasn't this the fob you were at? And it said Fob Ghazni. And it basically laid out the whole story as if it happened yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
wow.
I'm like, whoa,
bring it all around.
hell? I said, did you want to make sure
yesterday?
you wanted to make sure no one got shot first? You wanted to make sure they didn't actually make good on it before you actually release the story, and then you want to pretend it's happening now? That's crazy. But that's where I kind of got to see a little bit right in there how the mass media can move things
manipulation,
around.
Yeah.
Wow. You know a little more than they want you to know.
Yeah, you
know, like they don't want that out because it makes it makes the story null and void.
I mean, they're getting caught left and right. Like with videos, look at this bombing a riot.
Because back then there was no, like I was deployed
ago.
2013, 2014. There was no TikTok or Instagram anywhere I could say, hey, I saw this article come out. I was there, so let me talk to you about it. There wasn't that. But now we do have that. I think that's a part of why.
Yeah, there was only Facebook. And if your command was like ours, it was do not mention.
Correct.
Where you are.
Yep.
OPSEC.
Yeah, I could lose my security.
Operational security is what that stands for the layman's, for the civilians.
Yeah.
That way you don't give out information, position, all that stuff, and
things that would compromise.
You gotta, even your pictures, you gotta like
watch. You can have background and what
you could have pictures like this in your room, in your dorm, that look just like any other room in the U.S. or in America. So that's crazy though. Yeah.
But because of Zach's deep dive, he's done dives on Blackrock and stuff like that. I figured this is a great time to do the Federal Reserve, because up until a couple years ago, I thought the Federal Reserve was an arm of the United States government. You know, like it was our bank. No, it's private banks that loan money to the United States government, and I don't think a lot of people know that. So I use AI a lot, which there's that whole to go down that rabbit hole. But I use it as like to help me make tools. You know, like there's a guy somebody told me to look up. His name is Palmer Lucky. is his name, and he was with Meta, left Meta. Now he's got a company called Anduril, like the sword from Lord of the Rings, which is Flame of the West. That's what Anduril means. He's working with the military to make autonomous military equipment. Like, I was like, he's going to bring up Skynet. Like, that's where he is, but he flies under the radar. We all know Sam Altman. We all know Peter Thiel, the what did you call it? The PayPal Mafia. Mm-hmm. Those people are out in the now. This guy's flying under the radar. He's like a Hawaiian shirt, mullet tech guy.
What's this guy's name again?
His name is Palmer Luckey with a EY. I
think he was recently on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about the he developed. I'll just to be accurate. I'll make sure. But
hold up, Jamie. I'm gonna bring up Jamie. I'm gonna bring up the slideshow. So AI helped me make this.
He sold something and made all his money, but he was working on a helmet for soldiers. So it has everybody's linked together. And imagine this, Zach, if you and I are on the same thing and we have in our view, our goggle view, I can see where you are through walls. It'll show me you, sort of like when you get in Call of Duty, if you played zombies, you get whatever the one soda can is, you can see through the walls. But you do that in real life in real time. And so you would eliminate the friendly fire accidents.
Crazy.
Completely.
That was crazy.
Yeah. Have you seen that just described?
I think that's him.
Have you seen the show Peripheral on Amazon Prime?
No.
It's got Chloe Grace something or other. That's their soldiers. They're like
exactly.
They're tech. They're sync with tech so that you could see your squad on like a thing that you're all tapped in together. Like you're wired, so you know if this guy's hit, all this stuff. Like it's a really good. It's a very interesting show. And
confirm that's him. That was on Rogan. The same guy.
Yeah. Like
awesome.
He's flying under the radar. And
well, he was.
Yeah. I don't know which is better. This one or I think this is better.
Looks good.
But he
I would keep flipping it like every now and then.
You like to keep flipping it every now and then?
Yeah, like we're on the side right here, and then put us back up top.
Yeah, like a couple slides, I'll switch again.
Yeah.
Keeps the viewers on their toes. Yeah. Oh, I gotta click on it. So this is the
wake it up.
Beginning of the Federal Reserve. The duck hunt, and this is some new information. I'm sure Zach knows all this information, and he can actually confirm or deny whether AI knows what it's talking about or not. They all met at the Gentleman's Duck Hunting Expedition to the remote Jekyll Island Club off the coast of Georgia. Paul Warburg even carried a borrowed shotgun for the disguise. I mean, he was playing the part. Secrecy. Attendees arrived one by one at the Hoboken, New Jersey terminal to board a privately chartered train car. The rule, the first name club protocol, only Nelson, Harry, Frank, Paul, Piatt, and Arthur were used to prevent the train crew from discovering their identities. The real purpose, 9 days of total seclusion to draft the blueprint for the national banking cartel that would eventually become the Federal Reserve.
And for the listener, that first name club, like for example, it's going to bring it up right here, Nelson Aldrich. He's the one who called the meeting. Frank Vanderlip, Paul Warburg. Paul Warburg, his brother, actually would eventually lead the German central bank. And Paul Warburg was also the person who was one of the big proponents coming over from Germany to utilize that European system. And then this whole meeting is set at it's at an island in Georgia. They get in a private car and a train under their first names. They lied to their family and said they were going on a duck hunting trip, just like they said. And when they arrive, they stay there 6 days and eventually come to this conclusion that's called the Nelson-Aldrich Plan. The big thing about all this that people need to take away is the Federal Reserve was founded by these gentlemen, and every single one of them, like let's take Paul Warburg, partner at Kuhn, Loeb & Co. That's Rothschild money. President at National City Bank. That's a Morgan bank. And all of these people are associated with a JP Morgan, a Rockefeller, a Rothschild, a Carnegie, or the House of Morgan. And the House of Morgan's JP Morgan. J. Pierpont Morgan was alive during this meeting, but would die before the Federal Reserve was actually created. And he was the one who got them together at this island because he was one of the largest investors in the Jekyll Island Club.
Yeah.
Is that lower right-hand corner, James Gandolfini relative? Look at him. And that's the guy, Paul.
Yeah, Paul Warburg.
The guy with he's Warburg. He's the one that was carrying the fake gun. They're like, Paul, be careful with that thing. Oh, geez, you just Dick Cheney'd someone. They knew that back then.
Yeah, it's just the same group of people.
But it does look like Gandolfini a little bit.
But yeah, you can't because we have a book club with a few other people, and we were going to do Creature from Jekyll Island, but you can't buy it digitally. You have to get a paperback. Like in the United States, they can't sell it digitally in the United States. I was thinking about doing all the crap you can do to buy it, so I look like I'm buying it from somewhere else. But yeah, it's
and notice the timeline here too. The year that all this is happening before it actually comes together. There's some significant things along the way before it became what it is. That kind of also outside of that meeting altered it to go into I guess what we have today.
Yeah, and to your point about the dates really meaning something, the reason the meeting in 1910 Jekyll Island happened, and then inevitably Federal Reserve meeting happens 3 years later, was because of a happening in the economy in 1907. There was a state bank panic. Because at the time they did not have a central bank. There were state bank panics going on. And that's what fueled this meeting. JP Morgan had also bailed out America just a couple years prior to that, and a decade before that in 1896 with the Rothschilds. Bailed them out for about $5 million worth of gold. So they'd already privately financed the country. That's why there was so much almost like financial mobhood in him saying, and these people saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. And it happens. It's because they were kind of indebted to the country in a lot of ways. And by the way, 7 months after the Federal Reserve would be founded, we would go into World War I, which we would not have been able to finance without the central bank. Which is just a curious thing.
That is, yeah. I mean,
and then made it like thrive and flourish. I just remembered something, and so this is chewing the fat. The conspiracy of JP Morgan and Titanic. So JP Morgan, Titanic conspiracy theory alleges that the banker JP Morgan orchestrated the sinking of the Titanic to kill powerful rivals opposing the creation of the U.S. Federal Reserve, or to commit insurance fraud by swapping the ship, which its damaged sister ship, the Olympic. These theories are widely considered baseless myths. But isn't that what a conspiracy theory is? Until
I don't know if I believe
enough information comes out.
Yeah, and that's something we're never going to know.
Right.
The thing about JP is he was in the same year he was about to die in 1912. He was mad old. So just because he is the one who financed the building of the Titanic and had a room and the day of said he wasn't going to go, that all lines up and that's all true. Mm-hmm. But we can't remember that this was, or we can't forget, this is the red carpet of the time. This was the who's who's event of finance and banking. So not just I can't remember the three names. There's like John Benjamin and somebody else that were the Federal Reserve naysayers. Those naysayers, though they were very, 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 very wealthy, didn't really have any say as to whether or not the Federal Reserve is going to go into place or not. Secondly, I think there's a lot more room for debate around. He took out a lot of competition on that boat. All across the entire banking board, across the entire corporate board. Also, you should look into the communications.
John Jacob.
Yeah, John Jacob Asberg.
Astor the fourth, Benjamin
Guggenheim.
Guggenheim, and Isidor Straus.
Wow. Yep.
Isidore,
And again, I've looked into these gentlemen. There's again, lots of money, lots of wealth, lots of influence. No direct saying whether or not the Fed passes, though they were indeed at least 2 were documented naysayers, third purported naysayer. And again, there's
certainly against it. Yeah.
But also you should look into the communications company that was utilized for the Titanic. The communications company that was utilized to send the messages out to the captain, all of 12 hours, I think 11 and a half hours before they would actually make impact. They were sending out warnings. Communications
icebergs in the area, this and that, lower speed.
The communications company was owned by JP Morgan. So he's connected in every direction. But I don't know if I would go as flat out to say it's only because of the Fed or that was the reason for it. I think that there could have been a lot of like banking cartel.
I'm sure.
I think but I do think that the switching the ships is more so like insurance. Plausible.
Sure.
There is like footage of dives that show an M pretty clear on the Titanic. Well, there's no M in Titanic, but there's an M in Olympic. So that's kind of weird. Very weird. And from what I saw, it's pretty clear. It's pretty damning. And then you're like, And also now they can't get down there and so on and so forth. And it's kind of like the moon.
Yeah.
We can't go back.
Somehow our technology got worse. Well, then they kill a few people in a sub trying to go. Oh, geez.
Laura and I were talking.
I kid.
Yeah, Laura and I were talking like it's a distraction from a distraction, and I like, oh yeah, well now the aliens, UFO files are getting released. I'm like, listen, and then we're like, what about the Epstein files? I'm like, listen, we'll get the Titanic files before we get the Epstein files. You know what I mean? Like, we're finally gonna fully release what happened on the Titanic,
and we'll get the moon files and the JFK files and the pick your conspiracy. We'll get that before the Epstein stuff.
They showed great interest. That was it. Your video that you said? Oh no, it was Van Halla VFT was like, this is it. Because of great public interest, we're gonna release the UFO files. He's like, oh, is that all it takes? Because I'm sure there's other files that a lot of public interest wanted released, and we haven't had them. You know, like it's all, and it's the same play. It's the same play over and over again. Not even these wealthy business people get together, run stuff together. Like, we're going to do this, this, and this. And then they make it happen. And then they just do what they need to do to make business. They start wars. They fund both sides of the war. And it just keeps going. It keeps going. This is what you're talking about, Zach. The panic, that started to collapse. Which these dominoes, see AI, these dominoes going the wrong way. You know, I figured they had a concept of gravity or something, but
the more color, with the red crashing and cracking, it gets worse way. But
that's rare marble. That's very expensive marble. That's the Greece bleeding I can't even say it. The Greek bleeding marble, only found in the upper mountains twice a year. You have to wait for it.
Yeah.
Which actually 1907.
The island of Troy.
Yeah. 1907 is one of the famous Teddy Roosevelt quotes that there is a government, a shadow government that owns no allegiance to anybody, and attacking that is the first priority of the statesman of the day, which I paraphrased that, but that's what he knew, that there was like this shadow government doing things in 1907, which 1910, that's when they started doing it. Here's JP Morgan again. Who was close to, do we know who was close to JP Morgan? Like, because you said he was old. So there's somebody, one of his underlings is the one doing
Jack Morgan, his son, would be the
Jack
one who
Morgan.
would go after that. He would be in charge during, the Roaring '20s all the way through the Great Depression. But his close confidants were all the bank leaders at the time. He had a lot. He had a lot of close relationships inward from the 70s where he got started, 1870s onward.
So he was 75 years old, born in 1837 and died in 1913. So
this is
just for edification.
It's like I was just reading this little box here. It is wild how fragile our country really is. Like Reagan said it that we're one generation away. This is said the survival of the economy rested entirely on the wealth and discretion of one elderly financier. Like we're a bad crisis away from freaking Mad Max. Like it's crazy to me. That's where you were talking about. They had to go abroad looking for solutions, right? Just like this slide, they had the mandate 1908 Aldrich.
The Aldrich plan, yeah.
Excuse me.
Speaking of which, Q and I were just talking about, I think that in our lifetime that we will see a nuke detonated. I don't know if it'll be here. I don't think it'll be where we live. You said you're in Delaware, the first state, by the way, the first U.S. state.
Yes, sir.
There you
go. But I don't think there. But maybe California, maybe on one of the coasts, maybe Maine, somewhere like that. But not to wish ill. But I think, or just overseas somewhere, like, But I think before I die, a nuke will go off.
What do you think, Zach?
I think the chances are really, really, really low. The reason being is because it can't be one; it'll be 17. There is no one nuke scenario. There is no scenario where it goes off overseas and it doesn't go off domestically.
Here,
there's just zero chance. Zero. There's too many mega powers that are allied with any opposing force that we could do that to. In fact, if Russia wasn't such a direct threat and China wasn't such a direct threat, we probably would have already done that to Iran. But we know it will happen, and nobody wants that, because how can you bank in on your $1 billion portfolio when the world's in a full Holocaust, Mad Max?
Yeah,
we're all in our bunkers, which I know they have. But I don't think it would be that, to be honest with you. I think there's much more long-term ways to eliminate populations without having to do that, because you've essentially, quote unquote, nuked all of nature, all of how the ecosystems work. I think it would be a really low chance. I think there's bigger things to think about that are happening live and in front of us that could put the right types of people in charge that wouldn't even have to be a threat that we think about.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I just think somehow, some way, and it's just the trajectory now. Just aware I'm 48, so I'm not young, live some life. And it's just somehow, these things just, it's just going to be a news thing. Like everybody was watching when I was a kid, watching the Challenger explode. It just was huge, and it wasn't right here. Obviously, that's in the sky, but it took off from Florida. It did this and that, and then everybody knows about it. And is it an attack? Would it be an accident or an accident? I don't know.
Dave, what do you think?
I have this weird feeling that it'll happen.
Do you think we'll see? Do you think we'll see a nuke in your lifetime?
I don't think so. I mean, like I said, that's kind of, if we were the one nuclear power and we had the capabilities to, subdue our enemies, allies alike, and take their nuclear facilities down and and all their warheads, then I would kind of say that kind of would be us doing it to ourselves. But everybody kind of is in that kind of position. That's why we kind of have like these agreements, to where, anything to avoid the immediate threat,
because
you do this, you act this way, I'm going to send one to you. Well, if you do that and you don't do this, I'm going to send one to you. So instead of just playing the checkers game, we figure out how to play, our chess game. We figure out how to play chess together and be cohesive in this world, rather than sending these things off. I mean, you do that, you're taking away all the credibility of what we just did. Yeah, we're the youngest nation, we're still learning, but you send one of those off and you're the first one to do it. Like, you're taking all that stuff from our forefathers and just flushing it. You learn literally nothing about your liberty when you do something like that. Now, our adversaries.
Yeah, I don't think it would come from this way. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. It's coming from the other way too. So yeah, I mean, I think we've built up our capabilities to take down something like that anyways, before it even gets close to any coast. So I do believe that there are people, just like the two people that are diagonal, sacrifice their livelihoods, their time, 8 years above me, 17 years next to me, that would sacrifice themselves and put something in a plan together to blow up that thing coming to save millions of lives. So I really, if it did happen, I don't think it would be like anything like what the Hollywood would tell you what it would be.
Yeah. Well, that's what we talked about before. There's like tactical ones, and then there's city levelers. But
assured mutual destruction is still,
so
thinking about what you just said and everything.
Because I destroy that, we've been so codependent on other places for our resources that you can't just X out a whole region because everything's gonna be irradiated. This was my prediction. It was that if it was going to be used, like, do you think any kind of nuclear attack will be reciprocated with a nuclear attack, even if it's not involving us?
Yes. 100%. Because every country is connected to a proxy country that has that level of threat available to them.
Okay. So I think we've been worried about the wrong I country for a while.
Sure.
And it's going to be that I country, our ally I country, is going to use one on the other I country, and all our people are going to cheer it on.
Say hi.
Said that it was needed to be done, or for your safety, always for your safety, for every safety of every U.S. citizen, this had to be done. And because we know of AIPAC and how much they give, they're going to shake the pom-poms. And then because they shake the pom-poms, people down the ladder shake the pom-poms, and we're going to cheer it. That's very dystopian, but I think that's for me, the most realistic scenario is because you have so many people supporting. Like, I went on this little conspiracy theory, and everything on the show is alleged, speculatory, opinion. Charlie Kirk was killed the 10th. You know what came out the 16th? That a certain country, by the UN Commission, said it was committing genocide. But what covered all the news?
Charlie Kirk.
So do we have a UN International Commission saying a certain country is doing something that is wrong and criminal, which would be world news, right?
Yeah.
You'd think it would be. Any country. If you think Germany, if there's reports of Germany doing what another country's doing, it would be international news. But because it's our friend and they pay us handsomely for our cooperation, it never saw the light of day. They did. And it's like, I just watched, what's his name? He was on Sean Ryan. He was the creator of Young Turks. He talked about it. Like, they could, that country can do whatever they want. If they want to get you, they'll get you with or without U.S. help. And that's what he said. And nobody bats an eye. Like we had a Valentine's Day show, and that was U.S.'s Forever Valentine, Israel. Like 66, they attacked a U.S. ship, and nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened.
Yeah. Right.
No court martials, no courts, no nothing. Like, if you friendly fire, it's an accident. You still go through an investigation. And if they find that you were negligent, criminal charges, nothing.
Uger.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Who?
CEO and founder of Young Turks.
Maybe, yes. Yeah.
Uger.
He had some good information on that show.
Yep.
Just
Ugar. Yep.
He he was he got that stuff. Like, so that's now that we went on that little tangent, that's
now that we chewed that fat.
Yeah. Like, and you read these dystopian novels, Fahrenheit 451, Brave New World, and they talk about how people are cheering basically destruction. Like 1984 is a good one where they have the screen and everybody's watching war, them decimating people, and they're like, yes. What do they call it? 2 minutes of hate. That's what they called it in the book, I think.
Yeah.
That's what we're at now. And I mean, it's like a beating a dead horse, but if you have anything of the opposition, or if you say anything that doesn't align with some people, you're automatically the opposition. It's just, you're already the opposition. So, and that's
nice. Yeah, you can't have a disagreement. You can't have a different opinion from anybody else anymore. You can't have logical and theological talk. You have to stand on your side of the street with your weapons out and ready to go. Yeah, so I definitely understand what you're saying.
So, Duke here, come here, boy. Up. Duke here was outside the door crying, just talking, renouncing that, let me in. And it's just because the door's closed. So now it's open. You can move freely. Go on. Go get him. He looked back at me like, what? I don't want to go. I like it in here. So while he's off, 8 years, how did I nail it? You were in 8 years, Zach. How did I nail it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How did I get it? I got it on the button.
You nailed it.
8 years is the time when somebody goes, I'm either in it or I'm out. And if your contract lands, and usually they do, you go, I've had enough. And really, it depends on the person. It depends on your experience. It depends on your deployments. It depends on your leadership, all of that. All of that's a factor. But that number is tried and true. You could try it with some of your friends or whatever. Or you could think about your friends and go, oh, dude, yeah, he was done and his contract ended and he did not do another one. But most people try one more. I'm going to give it one more time. And then you land somewhere around 8. If you cross the 10, you're like, I'm halfway. I'm more than halfway now. So that's what happened to me.
Finish.
Might as well. So now I'm close. I did another contract, which puts me over 20 by 21. The last contract that I signed. So I'll be done. I'll have 21 total
now,
years in.
You get additional time or additional money, like Pops. He would stay like 4 years extra and get like an extra $2,000 a month. So does that work with you guys?
They'll try. They'll try.
Yeah,
but I know he
stayed in like 5.
When that time comes,
Laura, Beauty by LJ said, "Thank you for your service."
from another service member.
Yeah.
Veteran.
Laura served in the Air Force.
She
was she was a medic in Rad Tech.
Now, what I've heard from everyone that's about to retire, they always pull up the numbers and go, all right, you retire right now. When you turn 65, this is your pension. If you stay, it's this much difference. You got to decide, do I have another 2 years in me? And usually that amount is substantial enough that you really got to think about it. So,
well, that's good. I mean,
what are you thinking over there, Zach? I see your.
I was looking at the picture my daughter drew for me. I was looking at.
Okay, that's a deep thought. That's good.
Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
You don't have to share, but we all.
When did that come out? Kids. The Deep Thoughts, 90s, 80s.
2000. It was during or just before, like, Phil Hartman, all that.
Okay,
so
90s,
early 90s,
like early 90s,
all the way into, yeah. Do you know what that is, Zach?
No, never heard of that.
Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy, SNL, Saturday Night Live. Look it up. Have yourself a blast.
10-4.
It's just silliest, like, nonsensical deep thoughts. Example, Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy. And that's how the voice goes. And he goes, a wise man can look at a grain of sand and see the universe and everything in it. A dumb man will see seaweed, roll around until draped in it, and then say, look at me, I'm Vine Man. That's his deep thought. Another good one is, I think the president would love a chocolate revolver, but he's really busy, so you probably got to run up really fast to give it to him. Deep Thoughts by Jack.
Yeah, it's a good one. I started watching because I watched I Am Chris Farley, and then I was like, that's great. So I just started watching SNL from the very first season, and it's great. I mean, it's so great. There's so much creativity and just silliness. It's a good escape. You want an hour of just silliness, put on some old SNL. It's so good.
I only own one season, and that is the first.
Yeah, it had Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
And they were controversial then. Like, you play it now, it would get banned some places. I'm surprised that even you're streaming. Like,
Weekend Update?
Yes. Weekend
Update. Do you know what follows?
Yes, I do. I do.
Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy. I wonder if the fly knows how close he is to sudden death, because the only thing saving him is that pudding skin.
Jeez. We started on this one, which we can go back. Oh, I got to click on it. This is the Drafting the Blue. He talked about the Ulrich plan. And what's crazy, it doesn't surprise me whatsoever, because they're doing it right now and I'm seeing it live. You know what I mean? Like with Zach and Blackrock, but he did a whole episode on Blackrock and what they know. Like, it's all freaking connected. This guy works for this guy, and then this guy sells money to that guy, and then he starts the business under an LLC, and it's all a club. It's wild. And then that's on the private sector, and then they rope in our Congress people to write laws to make sure that they benefit the best. Like, that's like the classic talks, like, oh, we need to make term limits. Oh, we need to vote term limits. We need to vote term limits. No, all you have to do is make corporate lobbying illegal, and they won't want to stay in office because they're not going on trips. Because if they can't give you cold hard cash, they'll be like, oh, how about a vacation to Maui? 10 days. Here you go. I'll look for you on that
use
vote.
my house. Yeah.
Like,
you can stay at my
use
place.
my house in Maui. It's just, it's wild. And we've talked about it on the show. Is it that I'm paying attention more now? Or is it has it always been this way and I'm just now paying attention? Or is it worse than it's been previously? And I talked to my dad about it, and he said that it's ramping up. It's getting worse. But then again, we have technology now. Like before we didn't have technology.
The feudal system never ended.
That's Beauty by LJ. The feudal system never ended. And I agree. Especially here in Florida, you have these big houses with walls that people tend to land, and then they get paid pennies. And that's it.
Yeah.
You know, we're just sophisticated peasants, or not even sophisticated, just technological peasants. We're tech peasants. What do you think?
We have glowing rectangles,
right? Where are you at, Dave? Zach? Anybody?
Is it getting worse or is it getting better?
I mean, I think it's,
yeah, go ahead.
I think it's I mean, you just look at it through decades, and you can just take it section by section, but everybody was bought into one thing. And you could say one thing is a conspiracy, but they always unroll a new plan. The American dream in the 50s, your neighbor is my neighbor. We're going to take the garbage out. Oh, he's taking the garbage out. You better take the garbage out. Tim's outside. Oh, Tim's mowing his lawn. You better mow your lawn. You got to fit in and get in where you fit in. And that was the whole thing. And that kind of died. You get into the 70s, now everybody wants to be peace, love, no war. And everyone bought into the same kind of concepts. And these concepts will roll over, and it's always something new. But it's the same idea. It's the same ideal that they trudge you through to keep you activated, to keep you engaged, to keep you what you think is well informed, and you're doing the thing that they want you to be doing the whole time. So it's not like we're separating these ideas and you're telling me I'm wrong and I'm worse off now than I was 50 years ago. You know, the economy is the thing that drives this whole narrative that we're talking about. So the economies back then were different. Money was moved different. Money was spent different. You know, we don't have a consumer-based economy that they glorify, that they say we do. Money's not made like the way it was before. And you don't have money spending the way it was before. And that's odd in this new age of era that we're in, this digital age, and going through this new technology with AI. You would think this progressiveness, that we would have some type of, everybody kind of thriving more than we ever were. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not spending all my money on a loaf of bread and eating that for a week like some people did in the Great Depression. So I get it from that kind of a standpoint, but there were not as many people in America back then compared to today, you know. So it's all compounded, and that's all that is. It's just the same idea compounding over time, and you know, we're all bought in. The thing behind this whole conversation, I believe, is that we are learning what you were just talking about, Q. We are learning of it, and we're growing into that. We're being more aware of it, but we're so far behind and they're so far ahead. I mean, even if you wanted to try to get out of that and try to break that, we're so far behind. Mm-hmm. Generationally, you know, we expire. Whoever's here after us, I don't even know what that looks like.
They're fucked. That's what they are. They're completely fucked. They're going to be tied into a tech system, the 15-minute cities, and they're going to love it. Like, I think Brave New World is the creepiest of all the books because you don't have to eliminate books. That's what I think he said. You don't have to eliminate books. You have to eliminate the desire to read books. So these people won't even want the things that we have now because they'll be conditioned to, the classic, they'll be conditioned to love their jail.
You're right.
And we see that now. What do you think, Zach?
Thought I just.
Are you looking at another picture?
No, I go. No, I'm looking at you guys. Your TV screen's over here. I go back to that original question you had asked. Is like, is this new? Is this something that's always been? I think it's always been. A lot of these greed fueled systems existed in Europe before America was even a thought. And a lot of what our country was founded on isn't what we purport it to be today. It seems like we use things like, we're a Christian nation, Judeo-Christian values. And, that was created in the Cold War era. That was created as a PR opposition toward the cold, soulless communists over there in Russia. You need to support us. We're a Christian nation. Well, George Washington wasn't Christian.
No.
James Madison wasn't Christian. Benjamin Franklin wasn't Christian. Thomas Jefferson published his own Bible without Jesus's miracles in it or the resurrection because of how vehemently he disagreed with it. So we're not a Christian nation. We weren't founded on Christian values. We were actually founded to get away from this Quakerian religious, basically they had created religion to be an aspect of control. And that wasn't new to Britain, by the way. That had been happening for centuries before that. And I think we're just in the same place where religion and politics gets used to divide the people so that more power can go to the top. It just so happens in capitalism that the top is money, and the money is so-called free. But at the end of the day, we've known for centuries that when you add money to an economy, that the richest get richer. We've known for many decades now the way that our stock market works, that it's going to keep stockpiling on top of itself in terms of the wealthy getting wealthier. And 93% of the stocks today are owned by the top 10%. We see that the investors are buying 33.2% of all homes, and that the wealth gap has gone larger now than it was even during such times like the Gilded Ages. We are in a time where I don't think the game has changed, but the game is sped up simply due to tech. Simple thing like swiping your card or not using cash, like DT.
Tap to pay.
Yeah, DT, you just brought this up. Like, money's different. How's it different? Well, one of the biggest things is now it's a number on your screen instead of physically in your hand. When it's physically in your hand, dollars have this thing called velocity. Velocity simply means that when they're tracking how many times a dollar moves, I give it to DT buys something from Cap, and then Cap buys something from Greg. It moved 3 different times. That's the velocity of a dollar. And it's a great symbol for understanding how much people are actually moving their money versus not, how many people are buying and selling versus not. But in today's age, that's a little different because we're still buying and selling just as frequently, if not more, but now it's digital. And every single time that transaction goes through, I send something through Venmo, then they use it to buy something in the store. That person uses it to pay their payroll. Every single time that money's getting moved, there's a transaction fee involved. There's a percentage. And those fees keep a lot of the infrastructure, at least the banking infrastructure, moving. And when you stack on top of that, the fact that I think it's 82% of corporate profits are going into dividend programs and stock buybacks. Everything is overweighted to the top. I don't think the problem's new. I think that the way that we're seeing it now is so obvious versus other times, because other times where it was obvious, it was not being pushed on media. You didn't have creators online, like deep diving this stuff, investigative journaling this stuff. You didn't have that. Now we have books like 1929 to walk through the Great Depression and how banks and the Federal Reserve caused it. We have books like The Creature from Jekyll Island to understand how the Federal Reserve was created. We can understand now Bretton Woods in 44 and the Nixon shock of 71 and how Reaganomics actually didn't trickle down. I mean, we know more now, but I don't think the game is any different.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, we have more access to what they're doing,
right?
Or it's harder to keep what they're doing quiet because of the technological age we live in. Before it was a closed room with dudes and pen and paper, and that's agreements. Now everything's digital. Something has a digital footprint. Like it's more accessible.
And the other side of this, I don't want to say that's accessible. Sorry, Dave. No, absolutely. I want you to get back to it, and then I want you to tell me what you think.
I was just going to make a fun anecdote, which was, just for 1999, we all can feel a part of it by buying the game Monopoly.
Monopoly is an interesting. I like that you said that. So Monopoly was actually created by an elementary school teacher to teach their kids the dangers of capitalism long term.
Right.
And then it was picked up by a gaming company to sell it for the sake of capitalism.
That's very interesting.
But if we think about it, Monopoly, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned that, okay, it was harder back then versus now. Why is that? Well, let's think about Monopoly, okay? Let's say all four of us are playing a game of Monopoly. We all four start. We start from go. We go one turn at a time. You got to do one lap before you buy anything. And then you get to the starting point on the second lap where you start buying, selling, investing, and trading with your friends. All right. That's how the game Monopoly goes until somebody gets the most. And then we see the stockpiling effect happen where that person slowly but surely owns the game. But that's not capitalism. That's how most people.
Grandma's stash in the pink 50s.
Yeah, that's not how capitalism actually works. Most people, especially boomers and right wing would like to tell you that that's how it works. But the fact of the matter is it's not four individuals sitting down with equal rights, equal rules at the same place. In fact, the game of Monopoly we're playing is ongoing and has been really since the creating of the central bank, especially since we began to commoditize things like stocks, housing, everything else from creation of CDOs and CMOs to collateralize different investment tools. Now we have this world where we've been playing a game of Monopoly. But here's the difference. Cap, you were born in 1945. Greg, you were born in 1965. DT, 1985. Me, 2000.
78.
No, I'm just giving out. I'm giving out years.
Oh,
that's
I
your
gotcha.
year. Sorry, brother.
Yeah.
You were really close, though.
You're
of
right
them.
there. So,
Gotcha.
Cap, you get to start the game of Monopoly 20 years before Greg comes to the board. Okay, you do your one lap. You get around the board. You're 18 now. Now it's time to start buying, trading, selling, and investing with your friends. Greg approaches the board. He does his lap around the board. Gets his $200. Go. Same deal. There's little less, but there's still things available. Okay, DT. Then you step up. 1995. There's less available to you, right? You do your one lap around the board. You do your deal. And now you're getting the game. The boomers and everyone before you has a little bit more, but you can still get by. Now I approach the board, born in 2005. Now, rent is astronomical. Starting a business, too expensive. And every asset has been obtained by you three over the course of the last 60 years. Are you going to give it to me to start my game? No?
No.
Am I going to get a larger amount of money because inflation is, it wreaked havoc throughout the years? Or is Cap going to tell me, no, you get the same amount I started with?
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
Am I going to get to start buying on my first lap, or am I going to have to do the same rules that you guys did? Same rules. Same rules apply. And that's capitalism. The same rules apply. So you can win if you work harder. The problem is it's like a game of Monopoly that you have to start late. And if you were to start a Monopoly game and show up 20 turns in, you've lost.
Yeah.
You've lost. There's
You'll
no
never catch up, right?
There's no mathematical way for you to win at that point. And that's where I feel like we're kind of in this late stage capitalism is the end game of a game of Monopoly. But instead of everyone starting at the same time with the same resources, it's what we just went over.
Right. So kind of like to hinge this on this, and I guess this is something that you can kind of like more think about than a nuke going off in our time would be the cash flow in our society going over to which everybody is, trying to not want to happen, but fully digital. And when that was instituted to go from gold to just this standard of this piece of paper has value with nothing backing it, now we're just going to go in from paper to nothing to a whole digital thing.
So
like
completely
this is
imaginary.
another big step, but this is them taking the board, knocking all the pieces off, and they said, you know what? Let's start a new way to do it. And we got to get everybody on that idea because they found a way to where they can make even more money. We don't even realize that yet. So,
which is the exact reason why, in my opinion, there will never be nuclear warfare, at least not within, a period of time that we're going to be able to accurately talk about in the future, which is usually like 2-3 months. So what do we know?
I really hope
but
that.
I think that there's much more likelihood. And the reason I say this, that they're just going to keep robbing us and find new ways to rob us. If you were to break up the infrastructure, the supply chain the ecosystem that our Earth operates under. You're creating a world where your kids are going to be inheriting something completely different from what you'd already created. And that's what these billionaires have in mind, what they're going to pass off to their kids, the power of security they have within their family name, the relationships they've been able to kindle up. And at the end of the day, I think we can all agree lawmakers are taken over by money.
Yeah, they're corrupt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Even if they start out...
Judicial branch, all the way up. You look
all
at
of them.
Any way. Okay. So if we know that, okay, so we know there's a layer above them. That layer above them are those in suits with the money. The bankers, the oligarchs, the families. The Fink.
What is his name? His first name?
Larry Fink.
Blackrock guy. Larry Fink. Yeah.
Lawrence D. Fink. Yeah. He and others are making a lot of money on this structure that we have here in America. And it's international for them. They have this thing called transnational capital, where they have capital that has to do with multiple countries. And that's when you get to the point where you're really in oligarch status, because there's no real one country that can hold you accountable, if that makes sense. So I think that there is 100% a world where we get mass chaos, mass panic. Because if we are to look at the central bank, perfect example, how did they create a central bank? Were they able to create it out of thin air, or did it require some form of panic? There was a panic, 1907. Okay, we look at Bretton Woods. There was no real reason for the world to come under ownership of the dollar. That's what happened in 1944. They said, hey, we as Americans, the dollar is tagged to gold. All of your economies suck right now because of World War II. We're going to back everything. You can't do that unless there's chaos. Then you go into things like Reaganomics. You can't upend the entire economy and change everything unless you're going through the savings and loan crisis and stagflation like we were coming out of the 70s. You can't pitch getting rid of Glass-Steagall to allow banks to do whatever they want unless you got to a surplus and you actually had things good and you're like, okay, let's rip this wire out of the system. It's oftentimes we have to get to one extreme before the opposite can happen. And if we want to have this digital currency, this digital ecosystem of commerce with CBDCs and stable coins running everything, and every physical asset and digital asset being tokenized, there's going to be a mass economic panic. And I think that's much more likely is we're going to be walked into, like dogs on a leash, into a form of economic chaos, economic pandemonium, so that when these oligarchs are able to say, hey, we've already created this ecosystem of security, of being able to rent whatever you need to survive, your 15-minute cities, blah, 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 blah. They're going to have it ready. And in order to sell that, you have to be able to have a good sales pitch. And the sales pitch is you can't afford shit, so we're going to make so you can. But the caveat is you do what we say, you don't say what we don't want you to say, and you work for who we want you to work for. That would be the trade-off. And I think that world is much more black pillably accessible than I'd say sitting up at night wondering about a nuke, because ultimately we don't know. And it's a tough worry because I'm a data evidence sourcing. Like I want a document. I want a conversation that was recorded. I want something. I don't think that would be in the cards that I've looked at, like pattern wise. Even in I versus I, even Israel versus Iran, I don't think that would happen, because China's already come out and said, if that happens, we're going to eliminate Israel. They would, they would destroy it. It's the size of New Jersey. Yeah. It would be annihilated. And so they're not going to do that.
No, they're not going to do that. That's very true. And then, we've all watched, we talked about it on the show, the World Economic Forum, Agenda 2030. And there's a new, it was a documentary.
I only got about 10 more minutes, guys. I got to get off at 8:15.
Perfect.
Oh, okay.
There's the new, it's the Changing World Order. Is a documentary about 40 minutes. It talks about every 250 years, a superpower. Yeah. It's always through crisis. Either exterior or interior is a switch of the system. And that's what I said, is something's going to collapse. The financial sector, the housing market, like 2008, they can do that again, because I've heard that they're doing the same practices as they were. Nothing changed. And then from there is people like, okay, I lost all this money. Well, you know what? And sales, I'll double what you had in your bank, but you got to go to this system. And they'll be like, okay, like you said, make things affordable. I can't afford anything with my greenbacks, but hey, I can afford stuff with the crypto, the digital, that, okay, I can spend it one time a month on vegetables or one time a month on red meat. It's all, and there's U.S. states that have the digital ID already now that they're starting to lay out, and that's my wife Laura said it, and I never thought about it. Is that SAVES Act that they want to have the voter ID? I'm like, that's as Greg likes to say it, that's another domino to fall to get the full digital ID. Oh, you just need it to vote now. You just need this digital ID to vote. Up 4 years later, a couple years later, well, now you need it to drive your car, or now you need it to go to the grocery store, or if you want medical care.
Think about the SAVE Act and the Tax Cut and Jobs Act and the big, beautiful bill. And you go down the line, you get Citizens United, the Patriot Act. Any name that is purporting freedom is ripping that very thing away. Every time.
100%.
Every time. It's branded as freedom. It's the same exact reason they had to go from the Aldrich Plan to, it was like the federal banking system to the Federal Reserve. It was just branding. It's just, how can we sell this? And I think more and more people are seeing through the veil of branding than ever before. Like my guy, Sean, he shoots our podcast over on YouTube, and he was talking about Applebee's the other day, which is just, I loved him for saying it because it's where my brain lives now. I can hardly view anything without looking through the veneer 2 or 3 layers. He was sitting at Applebee's. He's looking around. He's like, wow, their slogan is like, you're in the neighborhood, and everything on the walls is something from our local high school, like jerseys and pictures. And there's that championship Milford, Delaware one and all that. He's like, this is just a part of their branding plan. This is a part of their brand book to make sure that when they open a local franchise, they make it seem like they're this local bar and grill when it's just some oligarchic monopolized food billionaire sitting at the top trying to make it so that you feel like you're local and at home. It's just, that's everything now. Nothing feels legitimate. Nothing feels like we're building toward the future. Everything seems like it's being sold to us. They're trying to drain every dollar out of our pockets through these trading apps like Kalshi, where you can bet on the damn weather. They're draining money out of our accounts by making us pay 4 times on a credit card for a DoorDash order. 31% of the uses of Pay Now or Pay Later services, those get it paid for now, pay for whatever it is now, and then you get like 4 payments later. 31% are being used for groceries. Credit card usage for bills is at an all-time high. Car payments being late is nearing all-time highs. I'm not for the housing market side. I think the housing market is actually pretty safe, but everything else is sitting on thin air.
Yeah.
Thin air.
Skating on thin ice.
I'll be honest. I have 2 different lines of shorts on the economy. One that expires in July and one that expires in November. There will be a seismic fall. There will be. Ooh. There will be a seismic fall, and I think it'll stem from the same thing it stemmed from in 2008. But I think it's going to be more seismic, and it's going to be similar to the .com bubble more so than it'll be 2008, where we saw the housing market affected. I think it's more like 01, where it stays in separate financial bubbles and doesn't really truly affect housing as badly. Main reason I believe that is because 39% of homes right now don't even have mortgages. Right? Oh, wow. 4 out of every 10 homes doesn't have a mortgage. What's going to force them to sell? 33% of homes are being bought by investors. What's going to force them to sell? It's a different market than it was pre-2008. There's different loan structures. Yes, they're still passing off mortgage notes between one another, but I think they learned a little bit about how to get away with that better. Yeah.
They predicted that. So this is like their second phase that is ultimately coming to that. And then you could see that in almost in any market,
And when the market becomes fragile and people's livelihoods become thin because they're paying a mortgage payment to have their child taken care of, they can't get health insurance, they can hardly afford a car, they've given up on looking for a home. Now all you need to do is have some third-party source throw the match on the leaves. All the leaves are on the ground. And I think what's going on in Iran right now, that's when in February, when this started, it was March 1st, I put in all of my shorts because this is the match. We're leveling the fuel industry. We are leveling the food and farming industry. We have ripped apart any last thoughts we had at relationships with people like the EU, relationships that we were struggling with already across the world. I mean, we have single-handedly impacted every economy on the planet by ourselves, a year away from tariffs, which also rocked the entire world trade system. People are tired of us. I think, again, the writing is already on the wall. Farmers can't afford to sell what they got for profit. Fuel is obnoxious and not going down anytime soon. We're going to be running out of it by September, even if the Strait were to open tomorrow, and it won't. We've been calling it since the first week of the war. This is not going to be a 2 to 4 week excursion.
No.
There's just no geopolitical reason for it to be. And economically, it makes a lot of sense for there to be a war that kicks off a recession that allows for us to be in a wartime economy with a lowering unemployment rate. That'll set us up for the need for such war jobs, war labor. And maybe I'm being speculative, and maybe the war ends tomorrow, but I think a lot of the damage has already been done economically, even if it did.
Yeah. What is your gas there in Delaware?
Gas sits at like $4.58.
Yeah, we're at $4.99.
Yep.
We haven't crossed $5 for regular, like premium and stuff is crossed over, but
yeah, our premium stuff's like in the 550s. I think diesel's closer to $6. But yeah, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys putting together this space. I got to dip like a chip, even though Cap jumped off. I'll try to hang on, but Mr. Q's back. But
appreciate you stopping out and giving us your time, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
what do you think the Cavs are going to do in their series, brother?
Well, it's a tough one. If they keep doing what they're doing today and, they can battle it out with these young guns in Detroit, then we can have a chance. But they're just running all over the floor. You can't stop the ball coming up the court with those two young guards they got. They're shooting all over the place.
Yeah, Cade's a bucket too.
For sure. And they got that other guy, I can't think of it, Cunningham. That guy, crazy.
Cade Cunningham. We're talking about the same guy.
Yeah, well,
did they take out the Pistons today?
One. No, there's just a third game that they just played. They won. So they were down 2-0. They're now 1-2. 7 games. They're a second round. One last thing I wanted to say before you do run off, something kind of cool. Maybe look into this when you have some time. If you want to have a little bit of fun. Everybody says The Simpsons predict a lot of things. May 14th, 2026, The Simpsons predicted gas would be at $200 a barrel. Also that I believe it's SONOS is a digital form of oil for global reserves, and it goes into like a coin per what this episode said. Apparently, it's supposed to be announced May 14th. And if you look it up on any cryptocurrency, it actually is there. Mm-hmm. And it is a global oil reserve that they're going to be announcing this chip for. A lot of people right now are saying that it's going to hit $1. It's in the pennies right now. And so if a lot of people are saying if you put, of course, because of this episode in The Simpsons predicting stuff, people are putting their money down on that and hoping that May 14th it goes above $1 because you'll be making a lot of money. $1,000 will get you, I think it said $300,000 if you put it down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Matt Groen is a good time traveler for sure.
Pretty interesting thing though.
He has called so many things.
Yeah, right.
All right, Zach,
you got it. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I have the link to your show in the description of my show. Check him out. He does great research in the whole financial web of corruption and what are you rubbing each other's backs in the whole thing, like Fox Garden and Hen House. So check him out. Thank you so much, Zach, for coming, and thank you for your service. And
appreciate y'all.
You have a
Thanks
good
for having
evening.
me, guys.
Yes,
thanks.
You. Have a good night.
Awesome.
Yeah, Zach, there he is. There he was. Now he's gone. But this whole
that was awesome.
Whole Federal Reserve, and all that stuff, man. I believe he does have a episode of that on there, and about the Federal Reserve and all the big details and all the people that were involved. And it's so crazy. It just blows my mind. Just the simple thing of we have private banks loaning the government in the United States money.
All right.
And how, okay, that's another thing. How are we paying that back? Do we pay it back, or are we paying it back in favors, which I think it's clear we're doing it back in favors, or vote this way, so that way it's all legal and correct.
Good question. There's something at the same time that was proposed in 1913 when the Federal Reserve came out that was voted on as well, and we still use it today, which is income tax. So how do you pay for it?
Oh, yeah.
Is the income tax.
Wow.
So we're going to inflate the economy with all this money, but how are we going to pay that debt back? With the income tax. And that was created at the same time in proportion with the Federal Reserve. So that was very important too. The timeline is what I was going over, was one of those things that I wanted to point out to you. 1910, they had that meeting. 1912, Titanic sinks with these three big people that are on there that are also bankers, are in the world of the wealthy, and now don't have the opinion of it. Also, December 23rd, when they go to vote, Woodrow Wilson voted while the, I guess, Congress was on holiday, to put an act to pass the Federal Reserve and what an executive order that he signed as well. So there are really big things that are like kind of similar to what people do today as politicians, but you can tell someone's definitely getting paid off. You know?
Yeah. Well, with the monopoly, they never changed the game, just the pieces. Just, it's the same game. And it's just so wild. Is there anything else we want to cover? David, do you have anything else that you pulled up?
I mean, no, we kind of all touched on that, the Titanic thing with the three people on there. That's something that I was going to bring up. The other part was the timeline. 1910, they had that meeting. 1912, it sank. And then 1913, the two big things that come were the Federal Reserve and income tax that came out. Now, when they did that, they had to go through Congress. So how do they do this? They set these meetings up years before. Everybody's in likeness of this. No one's opposing it. The whole American society is listening to these people talk about it. Nobody's really opposing it. So you know what? I'm for it as well because they're for it. And they pushed it in on a holiday when most of these politicians that were supposed to be in Congress to oppose it were already on Christmas vacation.
Yeah.
So
yeah, timing
of all
schedule.
that. You could say that is speculatory. You could say that's, whatever, but they still do stuff like that today. You took your holiday. You could have stayed. You could have voted. You could have opposed.
You could have come back. Yeah. We work, and then they would do it. We work for the people. So, and gaslighting sons of bitches.
For sure.
Greg, do you have anything? Did you?
While we were talking about the difference prices and stuff and what things cost. So I just pulled up 78. If you want, I'm sharing it.
Okay.
Right now, just to look at a couple of things and what they cost. I can't get rid of this comment, so forget about that. But the average cost of a new house only $54,800. Wow. Average income per year $17,000. That's crazy. Yeah. Average monthly rent $260. First class postage stamp was 13 cents. A movie ticket $2.34.
Wow.
Now it's $12.
And there's
$10 more.
These people that inflation, it goes down. No, it never goes down.
No.
Is that why we're still paying a nickel for bread? No.
Here's gasoline, 63 cents a gallon.
Cents. I think my old man.
A pound of bacon.
That's when he started. Well, 78, yeah. He was 18. He was driving.
Here's something interesting, and I'm not trying to do fun fact, but it is fun. The first ever cellular mobile phone is introduced in Illinois in 1978.
Wow.
I didn't know that it was that old.
I didn't know either.
I thought it was
I wonder how big
later.
It was. We should try to find a picture of it.
Home Depot was founded in Atlanta.
I didn't know that.
First test tube baby. It's born. Whoa.
I think I remember. I remember seeing that the Home Depot. I think I interviewed, and it was on like a poster that was in the office waiting that it was from there.
So, I get what the comment is now. Famous people born in 1978: Ashton Kutcher, Kobe Bryant, Katie Holmes, Rachel McAdams, John Legend, James Franco. These are famous people right now. And he goes, Ashton Kutcher, Kobe Bryant we're not famous. Nobody even knew who they were. It's saying who was born. Duh.
Yeah.
Superman the movie, Jaws 2, Grease, Halloween, Animal House, great stuff. Heaven Could Wait.
Yeah.
Super Bowl, the Dallas Cowboys.
Now,
NBA champions, the Washington Bullets. They don't exist anymore, huh?
Washington Bullets. Wow. Have you guys? So we talked a little bit about the UFOs, like
coming out. Take that away.
We'll touch on some current events before we go into our closing. But like the UFOs, have you seen the footage? Laura and I were talking. Dave and I were talking. I don't think I talked like the footage. This is all the stuff. They're like, oh yeah, this footage sucks. Well, this is the footage you could already get with the Freedom of Information Act. So they're just giving you what you could already get, but instead of having to go get it, they posted it for you. So I'm like, yeah, they're going to give you the free
available.
Stuff. Yeah, they're going to give you all the free stuff that they have before any kind of classified stuff, and then before they even say they release everything up to the classified stuff, they'll make a distraction so you won't want to see. Oh, I need to worry about this now. But I think Dave made a point either last week or when we were talking off air that they had the Epstein files and they're so vile, the Epstein files, that they made a war to distract you. And they're like, hey, look, there's war going on over here. And then we're still like, how about the Epstein files? And they're like, but the war's not doing good now. So check out these UFO files. And then people are still like, what about the Epstein files? And they're like, I think they're getting frustrated. Grr!
Yeah, for sure.
I'll give you UFOs. But it is weird too, because Laura was watching a lot of it and Dave told me about their meeting. They called pastors in. All these pastors had like people that work within the government, I guess, not for the government, have called this meeting of pastors and telling them that this news is going to shake the foundations of church, of the church. So this is how we've got to prepare people, and it's wild. So if you have some time, check anything on that out, because some people are saying and they keep using the term interdimensional, not interstellar, or extraterrestrial. They're interdimensional. So it's freaking weird.
Wow, that's changing the scope.
Have you seen where they are identifying people that are from? They're not alien-like; they're human, alien-like form, and they're from. It's not even alien. They say PD 52, which is 52 years in the future, and it's what was the word you just said?
Interdimensional.
So
or extraterrestrial.
Something dimensional. 52 would be like 52 years. And there's a lady who like proposed this, and she was one of these NASA scientists that went missing. As soon as she started talking about this, she had a documented case of interviewing somebody who is from 47 years in the future. She goes on some camera, just like this, having a documentation of like her studies and just everything that she gathered and putting it on record. And the next couple days, she hasn't been heard of. She was one of those 12 NASA scientists that got killed. And that was part of the study, which is crazy.
Wow.
Did you go to that website?
The one that you sent me? Which one?
No, for the UFO release, all that information.
Yes. We watched the guy.
It's interesting because it'll say Donald Trump's like initial post of why you want this to be released, and then underneath is like the department that's releasing it saying in these files what is to be found. And then when you scroll down, there's like 160 some unclassified documents in this little tablature, but they only go out to like 17 per page. And so like when you click them, you don't really know what you're looking at because you have to download them. So when the file pulls up on the screen on that website, you have to actually download the file to actually open it up. So a lot of people are kind of confused on that, but there's a crazy, did you see the UFO that was flying over the Middle East in 2013?
No, is that the star one? The one that looks like
a star, like a pendulum in the middle. That looks really bizarre.
It does look very bizarre, but it's got a smoke trail following. Is that the one
I saw that. Yes.
So they're like, if some people are saying it's interdimensional, well, why would it have an exhaust plume coming off the back of it? Like, if it's a demon, why would it have that either? It would just be floating there. You're like,
it's kind of a crazy video. It's just kind of like it to like perceive it and think about what it is.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon is what they're actually known as. The UFO is like the device in which they're flying, but the aerial phenomenon is the stuff that they can't say that's a unidentified flying object. They don't know what to call it because it's not an object. It never moves like that.
Yeah.
So there's video of like there's something there, and then it moves way crazier than anything that we can ever imagine or think of.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting, that whole thing. Like, who knows? Speaking, like we talked about, the financial sector using the same playbook, just different pieces. Have you guys heard of the Hanta? Have you heard about the Hanta virus in the cruise ship?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say all statements, discussions, and analysis reflect personal opinion and speculation. Everything is alleged, just alleged. We're just talking. We're just sharing our opinion. But now they have that cruise that supposedly supposed to land in Spain. I heard two things. I heard it was supposed to land in Spain tomorrow and let people off. It took 3 or 4 people off for emergency, and they're supposed to dock again on Sunday and let everybody else off that's not infected. I heard it was already released, and then I heard somewhere else that it's already landed and people are dispersed all over the world.
It's already docked.
Yeah. I can imagine they're out being true.
And they're already out because I guess supposedly the virus has like a 3 to 4 or what, 3
an incubation period.
Week, incubation period. So, and they're doing, Laura was, I watch a lot of what Laura's watching around Laura. Like, I'm not watching it really, but it's on, and she was watching it. That she was watching somebody comparing 2020, the rhetoric that they were using, like, don't worry about anything, nothing's gonna be, it's all gonna be fine.
Oh yeah.
Now, and it's the same script, but no need to worry, everything's fine. It's not, it only can come from rat poop and pee. So no, there's very low human to human transit, nothing, blah, blah, blah. Everything's okay. And then 2020 happened. So it's the same kind of verbiage. And I wonder if we've learned, and this one's supposed to be worse. And in a bunch of Bill Gates clips with him, like, the next one's going to be worse, or it's going to, come on.
The more I think about that, and I don't really want that to be a thing. Honestly, no. I don't. But the more you are speculating right now, I just came up with an idea just right now, just thinking of it. If that did become the thing, what if this is the new wave of them idling in or ushering in AI into the form of the workforce? So that way, even though you're collecting your unemployment and you can't go to work, we're going to keep the economy running.
Universal base income.
Boom.
I could see it. Like,
live
well,
off
it
of
goes
us.
the crisis. Zach was saying it before. It goes the crisis. All the big changes come through crisis, like
Right.
collapse. So, here's this.
Dang, we should have married these two subjects together. That would have been
right.
There's your crisis. Here's the next phase. Like that's
Boom.
actually
domino. And then when you come out of it,
you gotta
it's a new system.
Yeah.
The
very. I mean,
put that in your pipe and snort it.
Yeah.
Right. That's wild. And like it's all. And then if we want to get biblical, you have war. You have pestilence, which is disease, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then famine. So like Zach was saying, the strait is affecting the agriculture industry. That we're not. Everybody's focused on fuel, but it trickles down in a bad way. They can't afford fuel. They can't tend their crops. And I said they're going to sell it to the state bank, the government. They're going to sell it to the government. So now that the government has farms. So
she was sleeping on the bed this whole time.
Oh.
She's like, oh, it's podcast time.
I heard a cat meow and I didn't see one.
And of course, you know.
Did you hear it?
I heard
Gregory
it. Yeah.
had to wake her up because he's the one that wants to sleep.
Yeah, let me in there.
Yeah. And
we got another follower. The guy I worked with today, he came out to help me finish up. That's how I made it on time.
Nice.
But
thank you. Tell him thank you.
I did. And he said, yeah, but try not to fall asleep. And I go, oh, they make fun of me all the time. I'm always yawning.
Good.
He's like, I know. I'm going to.
Are you bored? Like, what? Yeah.
I'll be, he's like, yeah, I know. I'll be asleep. Hopefully I make it home first, though. Like, yeah.
It's,
he's like, well, I only live 10 minutes away. So.
You never got to ask him. You cut yourself off because you let him talk. Right at the beginning, you did the dubby, and you said you were about to do it, and then it stopped. So tell Greg.
What?
You know what?
Ask him what. I can't remember.
What did I come up with? I called you, and I was like, maybe we could do this and kind of like marry the two.
So what we were going to do is we were going to some part in the show, if we had enough people live watching, that we were going to go on air and start like a donation, like a telethon for Dave to shave his beard. So that if we got 100 donations, 100 super, donations, super chats or tips, Dave would shave his beard live on air, which I think we should maybe do that on another show, like to try to get engagement, because we could go viral, and that's Dave made a good point, and I
have to
agree
promote
with him.
it.
Like if we were sitting in your backyard, me, you, Dan, my dad, and everybody's like, hey man, all right, fine, most money we'll get $150, I'll shave my beard right now. And then we start throwing down 10, 15, come on, like we would do it, and he would do it right in front of us. So
oh man, yeah.
So we're gonna try to do that digitally, where people donate in, we get $200. Dave, how long you been growing it?
Oh, geez, I would say it's almost a year.
Yeah, he'll shave it. $100. We get $100 in donations.
The last time you shaved it down to nothing.
Live.
Been a while.
Yeah, I know.
They'll do it live.
That's my text tone. We'll do it
Is
live. When you guys text in the group, yeah.
Bill O'Reilly?
No, it's not. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. He's just making
That's
that up.
awesome.
He's changing it now, so
change it now?
Am I?
Do I have to text you?
I'll show you after. Yeah, I'll show you later. But let's go into Gregory's closing segment for the 3 fun facts and 3 on this day in history you picked.
Okay, so I picked, in honor of our special guest, Zachary Foust, some fun facts about Delaware.
Okay.
I mentioned it's the first state. So Delaware, known as the first state, was the first to ratify the U.S. Constitution in 1787 and is famous for being a tax-free shopping destination, having no sales tax. As the second smallest state by area and 49th in land size, it is a small wonder with only 3 counties, the fewest of any state.
I didn't know that.
But business capital, more than 60% of Fortune 500 companies are incorporated in Delaware. And they are more business than people in the state. And they are more businesses. Oh, there are more businesses than people in the state.
Wow.
Chicken capital, Delaware is a top producer of broiler chickens, which are raised for meat.
Broiler chickens.
Sounds awesome.
Let me see if anything really, really cool, because that's a bunch of them already. But yeah, pretty good. High-tech agriculture. The first log cabins in America were built in by Swedish settlers in Delaware in the 1600s. Good Lord. Okay.
Wow.
That's pretty Swedish.
It's pretty Swedish of you.
Very nice.
Very Swedish fish of you.
So I just thought of this while you're talking about the facts. So Dave's closing segment is a little 1 or 2 stories on the fringe or the off the beaten path. So I just thought of it because of his lighting and because a lot of these stories don't get light. In the Dark with Dave. His story, his little segment, In the Dark with Dave.
That's good.
Stories you may not have heard of or that haven't seen the light in the Dark with Dave. In the Dark with DT. So Dave, your segment.
Yeah, my segment. I mean, a lot of things that are going on, you know, and it's almost like the media drum, they push all this, you know, it's hard to keep up with, you know. It's not like the movie machine where, you know, back in when it was thriving, there was a good movie coming out. Did you see it? Oh, I never got to catch that one. You know, did you go to the theater for this? No, I never got to catch this one. And now these stories are all coming out and we don't even know what's going on or what's happening. You know, Nancy Guthrie, that was one of these large ones that came out right before we started the war. Everyone was kind of like behind this. What's going on? You know, is she alive? Is she dead? You know, is there a ransom note? Is it the brother? What's going on? And they don't really have anything. The suspects they've let go. And still to this day, we have no word and no nothing of what is. So what was that? Is this a ruse? Is there something that kind of just takes us away from something else that's going on? Hey, don't look over here. Look at this. Yeah. So you look at anything where you're trying to get, like, I guess, updated on that. It's pretty much the same thing that you just open up the page and just hit refresh. And I guarantee you it'll be the same as it was a month ago.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the one thing I want to tell you guys right now. If you have never heard anything on that yet, it's still the same. There's nothing really outbreaking from that. As far as being on the fringe and not really talked about, was that, again, I shared it a little earlier with Zach, but it's that Simpson episode. Check it out. Look up The Simpsons and that date, May 14th, 2026. No one's really talking about it, but the things that they're talking about in this episode apparently do come true. And the thing that's kind of the oddball on that one is that if you go to a crypto site and you look up the thing that it's in that show, it's there.
Wow. I'm going to have to look at it.
What? Say again the date and the year?
May 14th,
Which episode?
2026. No, that it's I don't know what the episode is, but if you just type in Simpsons episode in correlation to the date, May 14th, 2026, it'll pull up a guy on the TV in the background.
Gotcha.
And he's talking about the price of barrels for the world's oil supply. Okay. And it's at $200 a barrel, all-time high. So apparently Donald Trump will be announcing this thing in May 14th. I didn't write it down. I was at work when I did that one. I think I could probably pull it up real quick.
2026. So you just type in May 14th, 2026 Simpsons. But so my little segment, because I do it on my personal Facebook, is just the verse of the day. That I have the U Bible app gives me the verse of the day. So this is John 20:21 in the New King James Version. So Jesus said to them, "Peace to you, as the Father has sent me, I also send you." Which I think is really similar to one of my favorite quotes. Is I can't remember it's Isaiah. I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Who shall we send? Who should go for us?" And I said, or I replied, "Here I am. Send me." Like, we're supposed to go out and emulate Christ. So that's what I thought was that quote would meant. He said, and it's, I also send you. He sends us out to do good, to spread the good word, and to be examples. I guess I'll say that's my closing remarks. Greg, what do you got for closing remarks?
Well, I do want to give this May 14th thing, and I went to Hulu to try to find it, but we'll just figure out it here.
Simpsons are on Hulu?
Yeah. Based on the latest updates as of May 9th.
All right. You got it on the screen? I'll show the screen.
Yeah, you can bring it up. Yeah.
All right.
While I'm searching. Episode 27, or season 27, episode 16. Private companies, individuals, including Lisa, set plans for populate Mars in 2026. Oh. The Margian Chronicles. Is that probably it, huh? Let's see what else. Oh, wow. There's a whole bunch of different episodes. Oh, space tourism to Mars, plastic avalanche, including crisis. What episode? Damn it. Mars colonization, they talk about.
Oh, wow.
In season 27. But right now, they are on
what season are they
34, on? I think. Season 34.
Wow. Isn't it the longest running show on Fox?
Yeah, ever.
Ever.
I think ever. Yeah, by now it's ever. And a long time ago, it took the cartoon, then it took any other show or whatever. Well, that takes more research, so you'll have to do that on your own. So on this day of history, so it's I did a fun facts for Delaware just for our special guest Zachary Foust.
Nice.
And then on this day of history, the FDA approved the first commercially produced birth control pill.
Ooh.
May 9th, 1960.
Interesting.
Aviation first on May 9th, 1926, Richard E. Byrd and Floyd Bennett claimed to have completed the first flight over the North Pole.
Wow.
Musical beginnings. On this day in 1962, the Beatles signed their first contract with EMI Parlophone.
Wow.
Singer Billy Joel and actress Candice Bergen share a birthday today.
Nice. I just watched Candice Bergen on SNL.
Yeah.
He was on
he
there.
He was there in the beginning.
Yep.
No,
She's
it's
funny.
You're that shark and you know it. No,
Yeah.
I'm just a dolphin, ma'am. Really?
Yeah. Telegram.
Land shark.
The land shark. Hit us with your closing remarks, Greg.
This, I guess, watch your pennies and the dollars follow, right?
Yeah.
That's an old-timey thing, but I guess now more than ever, you got to be careful. Watch out for those predatory lenders. There's some other thing besides a HELOC that's like a line of credit. HELOC is a home equity line of credit, right?
Yeah.
But there's another one that's like basically you get this loan and they'll give you a lot of money, but then when you go to sell, they're like, oh yeah, so you get nothing for your house because you owe us all that money plus interest plus this, that, whatever. And you signed it and you agreed. And, so be careful.
Now you're fucked.
Now you are, whatever happens, desolate. Yeah. Homeless. But you spent all that money on whatever you thought because they make it sound so good.
Yeah.
So be careful. Be careful with your monies. And hopefully we don't end up going completely digital. But
I hope not.
And
that'll be a problem.
And I don't want a nuclear war.
No.
I just have a sinking feeling that something may happen.
I guess
but it could be
I
the
do have a
movies
sinking feeling, but I think Zach made a good point, and it's you don't destroy something you're going to occupy. So unless you don't want to occupy that anymore,
valuable.
that and our whole global economy is so dependent on other parts. So you destroy a part, you're destroying the whole rest of the world, so and that's not in the best interest of the powers that be, Big Brother. And like Laura said, he's like, yeah, if you destroy the world, who's going to buy your shit? Like, who's going to do it? DT, your closing remarks.
Just be cautionary. I guess it's easier said than done, but I'll be honest with you, things that taste too sweet, we're not really in the light of that being the adversary because it doesn't taste too bitter. Though things that are flourished with gold don't really seem to be an adversary, but they seem to be more of a friend. But you don't know if they're your foe. But somebody who has nothing, you can look at it right away and go, yeah, I don't want that. So when you bite into something or you can smell something that's just a little too sweet, take a question in your head and question some things. If something's being rubbed the wrong way in your life like that, we don't really take time to really understand all that. And I don't really mean it until like all things go that way. But if something just seems just a little too sweet, there's got to be something behind it more than what it is.
For sure.
Just take a step back and let the dust settle before you actually go all in. Take some time and calculate to come up with a better solution. It's written in the stars. It's in our destiny. We're gonna be who we're going to be. You're gonna either be someone who you never thought you were, or be something you always thought you said you were going to be. Which one do you choose?
Yeah, I totally agree. Sum up what you said. Basically, if the deal is too good to be true, it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. And if you guys like the show out there, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, turn on that bell, hang out with us. We like to chew the fat. We like to chew the fat with you guys too. And if you need an energy drink replacement, get rid of the carbonation, Dubby, DUBBY, 10% off if you use the promo code CHEWING. And I hope to see you guys all next week. You guys have a great night. And God bless.
Regular time, Wednesday.
Yeah. Wednesday. We'll see you guys again Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This was a good talk. It went everywhere,
out, Don't forget about our merch shop.
Yeah, check out our merch Shopify. The links are in our description. Thank you again for Zach for coming on. Check out his channel. His link is in the description. He does a lot of good work on the financial entanglements that everybody's in. So check him out if you want more. He does really good research. He's got dry erase boards. He sort of looks like Charlie from It's Always Sunny he's got that, but it all links up. It's all fact checked. It's good.
Charlie Day.
Yeah, Charlie Day. And that's how he's got this is connected to this. He's really good. And he's a good, he's a good person too. So check him out. Thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. God bless.
Well, then you won't, then you rather not go. I'm gonna say it to you. These three little words, and they mean that we are through.